Welcome to Anatomy and Physiology. The first thing you need to do is read the syllabus. Syllabus. Make sure you print, read, and highlight the important information. The majority of your questions you have about this class is in the syllabus. The policies, due dates, everything is in the syllabus. If you can't find it in the syllabus, it's a great idea to either text me or email me, communicate with me in any way you're most comfortable with any questions you have. But I'm going to always tell you, check the syllabus first, okay? So this course is divided into 4 main units. The first unit includes the introduction. Those are like introduction terms and things like homeostasis. Then chemistry, excuse me, cells, tissues, and the integumentary system, which is the skin, nails, and hair as well. Then the second unit is on the skeletal, joints, muscle, and nervous. I've been told by students that the second unit is the most difficult. So if you are have a very active schedule in terms of working, you might want to consider, if possible, to take a little bit, little extra time to work on that second unit, okay? Then the third unit includes the cardiovascular system, which includes blood, heart, and blood vessels, the respiratory and digestive. And then we'll end with the fourth unit, which is on urinary, endocrine, reproductive, both male and female. There's a lot of resources you can use. Some highly recommended resource would be the Canvas with the navigational materials, the supplemental course videos. These are videos that I've made because I teach this class in person as well. So I record those videos and I've made them available to my online students. So those are kind of like sitting in my class, essentially. So those are the supplemental course videos. Then I provide worksheets. Some of the worksheets are a part of your assignments that are due on a weekly basis, but others are not. And if they're not, I still highly recommend that you do them. Students have told me that worksheets are really long and tedious, but it was the most useful for them in terms of preparing for the exams and understanding the content in this course. There are a lot of external resources as well, Khan's Academy and a lot of others. And if you do find any, let me know. I'll email it to the rest of the class. And then we'll just share any great resources that we have amongst all of us. Any questions?
No.
Okay. So in this course, you're going to have 4 main things. Assignments. Then you're going to have quizzes, lab quizzes, lecture quizzes, and then lab exams and lecture exams, okay? So we'll start with the assignments. So within the assignments, we have what's called critical skills assignments. And the critical skills assignments are really useful for students who haven't gone to school for a long time or just haven't had the experience, being going through a very rigorous science program, essentially. So the critical skills, you'll find that, taking notes in a science class is a lot different from taking notes in an English course, for example. So the critical skills help you to gain those academic skills for a science course particularly. And what you learn in the critical skills assignments, you can apply to any course. It's going to include things like how to prepare for exams. It's going to include things on how to take notes, how to pull out the key things from your textbook, and so on. So these critical skills are very useful, okay? And of course, they also include the worksheets. So in addition to the 7 critical study skills assignments, you will also have 4 video assignments. The 4 video assignments, I assign you a topic to present on, and you'll find that in order to present something, you have to know it really well, okay? So that's why by doing these video assignments on that particular topic, you're going to learn so much as you're preparing to present it. And you'll be hearing others present on their topic as well. And you'll find that sometimes I'll present something and one of your classmates presents something, and you'll understand it a lot more from your classmate. And that's completely fine, because sometimes things click better when we hear it in a different different way. And that's why when you do your video assignments, you all post it and you all have access to it. Another reason why I have the video assignments is that it lets me see kind of where the misunderstandings are. Okay, so let's say you've always thought that the sternocleidomastoids is found in your arm, for example. Then I can go, oh, okay, so that's why she got that question wrong on the test. Okay, because I'm like, no, let's go back and look at that particular unit. So that's the use of the video assignments. Okay, we'll talk more about the video assignments in a little bit. There are 11 assignments total. I always drop one. So let's say a week that you were really sick and you couldn't do one of your assignments, no problem. It's going to be dropped. Your lowest one automatically gets dropped. Okay? Questions on the assignments?
I just have a quick question on this first video. Sorry, just this first video assignment. Yeah. It does say it's not graded. So is this one just like an introduction practice type of assignment?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
It's to kind of show you how to do the video assignments and how to post them.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And if you've never done video assignments before, Canvas, you can do video assignments directly in Canvas and record yourself. Or if you have a smartphone, you can record yourself and then upload it to YouTube and then link it. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Okay. Let's see what else. They are expected to be submitted on time. So they're due on Fridays by 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. And any time that they're late, then there's a 1-point deduction. If something does happen though, please contact me. Let's say it's, something that you couldn't prevent, like a health issue or something happened. Just let me know. Always contact me. And if I can, I will give you an extension. Okay. But just always contact me. You never know. So for the video discussion, all of the assignments are worth 10 points, but let me tell you how you're going to be graded on the video assignments. So this is the video grading rubric. It's worth 10 points. Please begin the video with your name, the date, and the topic that you're presenting. Okay. You get 4 points on the content. In other words, did you include all the components of that topic? You get 2 points for audio. In other words, I want to hear you narrating it. Okay, so if your video is just all slides and music, you lose 2 points automatically because I need to hear you narrating it, because this assignment is about showing me that you understand the materials and you can teach it to other people. Okay, you must also have a visual that you create. It cannot be any images from your textbook or the internet or any other resource. You have to create it. For example, you have to draw it out, or you can create a model, or you can demonstrate it with like your body. So one of the videos is joint movements. You can say, this is an example of flexion where the angles decrease. This is an example of extension where the angles increase. Okay, but it has to be something you made. Okay, and it can't be anything that's pre-made. Okay, and that's worth 2 points. Then make sure to watch and provide feedback, and that's worth 2 points. Okay, now the feedback that you give, this one is particularly difficult for students because, I don't know, we went through the school system thinking that you can't make mistakes, right? But that's how you learn. Research shows that you learn by making mistakes, because it's something you don't know. So you're going to make mistakes until you finally figure out the way to do it, right? So students have difficulty with this one because you have to provide constructive criticism. In other words, you have to watch the video and you have to see, okay, my understanding versus your understanding on what the sternocleidomastoids is not the same. So that's what you need to do. Be able to watch and critically help your peers learn from their mistakes. Okay, I will do the same thing, but I also want you to be able to kind of see if they're saying something that doesn't click or doesn't seem correct to you, help them and correct them. Okay, no one's correct 100% of the time. Okay, it's completely okay to help each other by providing constructive criticism. Okay, you will find that I make mistakes when I'm presenting as well. Okay, and that's because sometimes our brain works faster than our mouth. So what we say isn't connecting quite well. And that's helpful to kind of point that out. Okay, so it's not being mean, it's not being, it's just we're trying to be helpful to each other. And in this class, in this space, I want this assignment particularly, know that it's okay to be wrong. Okay, and that's why I want to hear from you what you're thinking about in that topic, so that we can help each other kind of get to the right understanding. Okay, questions on the video assignment? All right. Quizzes. Okay, quizzes you'll find are very low stakes. They're only worth 10 points, 1% of your grade. Very, very low stakes. And usually quizzes help students pull their grade up because it's the exams that are more difficult. And the point of that is that we purposely made the quizzes very little because they're meant to be a learning tool. Okay, you take them, and if you got something wrong, you have to figure out why you got it wrong. Was it not in your notes, or was it something you misunderstood? Quizzes are the time to make the mistakes because it's very low stakes. So use your quiz as a learning tool. Okay, the quizzes are open all week, starting from Monday to Sunday. Okay, so I don't want to hear, oh no, I missed the quiz. You had a whole week to take them. Okay, so they're open all week long. They are due Sundays at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, so this includes both the lecture and the lab quizzes. Respondents, you are required to use Respondent's lockdown browser. So make sure you know how to use that. You've downloaded, and there's a practice quiz that will allow you to make sure that all of that is working on your computer. Okay. Now the webcam is optional for quizzes only. It is required for exams, and that's why I made them optional for quizzes, so that you can get used to using the webcam. So by the time you get to the exams, you'll know what, kind of the experience of what it feels like to have the webcam on and how it works. So do use the webcam a few times on your quizzes so that you can kind of get the idea of how it would be on the exams. Okay. Any of the quizzes, none of the quizzes should require a password, but if they do require a password, it's always going to be anatomy, all lowercase. Okay. It shouldn't require any password, but sometimes it glitches, and it does. And if it does, the password is anatomy. Okay. All right. So the lecture quizzes are always on the current week's lecture modules. There are 10 questions, all multiple choice. Okay. The lab quizzes are on the current week's lab modules. There are 10, but this one you have to type in the answer. Okay. So you have to type it in, and spelling counts. Okay, so when you're studying for the lab, make sure you're not studying just on how to identify things, but also how to spell them. Okay, you will have 2 attempts. That means you can take your quizzes twice each week. Okay, for both lecture and lab. So I would say take it a few days before it is due, and then that way you kind of see how you did, what you need to study more, and then take it a second time to kind of get the better score. Okay, so you always have 2 attempts to take both the lecture and lab quizzes. They will not be the same questions because it's a pool of questions that pull up. But the point of giving you 2 attempts is, one, to kind of help you get used to them, and then to kind of see whether you're on the right track in terms of preparing and studying for them. Okay. Because they are open all week long and you have 2 attempts, there are no makeup, no retakes. And this is a very solid policy. Okay, but again, extenuating circumstances happen. And if they do happen, please contact me. Okay, so if you missed the quiz for some reason, email me right away. Let me know why you missed it. And if it's within one of those extenuating circumstances, I'll say, okay, I'll open up for another day or 2. You could take it then, but you need to email me right away. Okay. We have a practice quiz that you can take anytime. As a matter of fact, you should take it by Wednesday. And that will help you determine whether your computer is set up for Respondent's lockdown as well as the webcam. Like I said earlier, use the quizzes as a learning tool. Review the quizzes after your grades have been released. Okay. Now, after I release the scores, the correct answers will only be available for 2 days, 48 hours, after which you can still see your quizzes and the questions that you got wrong, but the correct answers will not be available after that period of time. Okay, but remember, you can always, at any time during the class, see your quizzes. Okay, so use them as a learning tool. Questions on quizzes.
Do some of the questions on the exams come from these quizzes?
No, they're complete. Well, let me rephrase that. So for the lecture, it's a different pool of questions, but for the lab, it has to be the same, right? Because I can only show you so many pictures of like the sternocleidomastoids. Okay, so yes, for the lab quizzes, you will see the same images, same questions, but again, it's randomized, so you may or may not see them, depending on what the computer randomizes the questions for you. Okay, but for the lecture quiz, you'll see similar questions, but it will not be the same questions because we wrote it as two separate pools. Good question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a couple actually too. For the webcam, is it a specific webcam that you need, or can it just be the one built into the computer?
That's actually the one that it uses, is the one that is built in.
Okay.
But if you don't have one, you can buy one of those things that attaches to it. Okay.
Okay. And then the second question is, you say that the correct answers are released after quizzes. When do they get released? Like, when are the grades published?
Right. So all students have to submit their quizzes by Sunday, 11 p.m. I usually get to them by either Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Yep. I usually turn back within like 1 to 2 days.
Okay. Thank you.
I had a question, like for exams or quizzes, like the periodic table, are we gonna have access to that, or are we expected to memorize that, I guess, if that makes sense?
It does, and you do not have to memorize it, but you have to be familiar with it. Okay, so I will never ask you, what is this than this? Okay, but for example, if I put down Na, I would expect you to know that that's sodium. If I put K, if I put C, if I put Ca, so kind of there are 18 most common elements that are found in the human body, and those are the ones that you'll want to know. Okay, and we'll use them in class so frequently that eventually you will know them anyways. Okay, but no, you do not have to memorize the periodic table. Great question. Other questions?
I have a quick one. So for the lecture exams, for those videos, are they just going to be pre-recorded videos, or are they going to be videos we have to kind of do like now, like a Zoom meeting?
Lecture, I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? What videos?
The lecture videos, are they the videos that like the quiz will be over, are they going to be lecture videos or just like reading?
No, they're videos.
Okay.
And they're pre-recorded, so you can watch them at any time. Although I do recommend that you watch them earlier on. You'll find anatomy and physiology is not something that comes easily to people. So you'll need time for your brain to process it, you know, kind of watch it ahead, and then throughout the week, you process that information.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Also, one more question for the quizzes, or even the final exam. Can we like take notes during the lecture and then use our notes for the quiz, or does it just have to be the computer?
Yep. No notes, no cell phone, nothing can be around you. And that's why we have the webcam. You'll have to do what's called an environmental scan. So you'll have to kind of scan like your area to show me that there's nothing around you. And yep. And we'll go through that as we get closer to the exam. I have a demonstration of what I'm expecting. And I will say this though, I have had students end up with a 0 on their exam because they didn't do the appropriate environmental scanning. So make sure you do kind of follow through that when that email comes out.
Yes, ma'am. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have another question. I noticed we're told like assign readings for the book. Are we expected to, are there going to be questions from pages that aren't assigned for us to read?
Not at all. So let me tell you this, okay? Because as a student, I always wanted to know this as well. I will tell you that 100% of the questions come from the materials that we have on Canvas. So if you watch the video, the lecture and lab videos, look at the script, okay? That is the primary source of information that will prepare you for the quizzes and exams. The reading assignments from your textbook are the same things as what you would find in the lecture, but more expanded. So let's say you watch the lecture video and you're like, I still don't really understand that. Then you can open your textbook because your textbook will always provide a lot more examples and a lot more information. So you can always use those assigned readings and your textbook as additional kind of to give you more examples, okay? But 100% of the questions come directly from the materials that we've uploaded to Canvas.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
and then the outline too, like I noticed it's like there's information on there like keywords we should know. Do we have to know any other keywords within that section if that
Well,
or
the first outline is fully filled out for you, so that gives you an example of what to do for the other outlines. Not the first outline is the only one that's fully filled out to give you an example of what we're looking for. The other outlines will be just kind of like outlines like Roman numeral 1, A, B, C, and then you have to fill it out based on the notes that you have from the lecture video as well as the lecture scripts. Okay, so again, back to where the primary source of your information is. Where is it coming from?
the script and the videos on the modules.
That's exactly it. Yep. Anything on the lecture videos, the lecture scripts is fair game. Any information in there is fair game. And you'll find that if you compare that information to what's in the textbook, we've already narrowed it down to what is the most essential things that you have to know in order to satisfy the requirements for this course. So this course, Anatomy and Physiology, is a course taught everywhere. So you're able to transfer our course anywhere because we follow the same requirements that is set out for all anatomy and physiology courses, okay? So we've already pared down to exactly what you need to know to satisfy that requirement. Okay, so make sure anything from the lecture video, lecture script, those are all fair game, okay?
And then, sorry, I have another question.
Yeah, of course.
I noticed the ISBN number for the book on the virtual bookstore is different than the one on the syllabus. Is it a different book or is
If it's by Saladin, it might be a different edition, but either way, you know, I'm okay with you taking any edition. So if it's cheaper to get the previous edition, go ahead and get the previous edition.
okay? Because I noticed like the Atlas, I think it was Atlas A or something, was not like what you said the page it was on was different than what the book I have because I got it from the bookstore. So that's how I was like, are the pages a little off?
It might be because
Okay.
check the edition.
Okay.
So we don't use the newest edition. We're using the one older edition than the newest one. So that might be why. And that's just because it's cheaper for students. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But if you look in the index, it'll always tell you what page things are. It's the exact same, you know, periodic table, or it's just might be on a different page.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Yep. Other questions? These are great. This is the best time to ask.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Yeah.
So I know you spoke about the critical skills assignment. You know how you sent us the chemistry worksheet on the very last question, it did say critical skill assignment. Can you like explain that again? Like what does that mean? Like
Yeah, let me pull it up actually. That's why I purposely have this up. Okay. So the assignment right here for your first assignment, this is your first critical skills assignment. It's on time management and cognitive mapping. The time management may not be that useful, but for students who haven't been to school for a while, you tend to forget how much time you need. And that's why we have this assignment to help you realize that, you know, you need a lot of time. And that's why it's, especially if you're a busy person, to kind of outline it. So this is more for students to kind of make sure you have like a weekly schedule in terms of setting aside time, solid time to study for this course, because this course is intense. It's a lot of information, okay? Then the next part is the cognitive mapping, and this is what follows that worksheet. You know, on the chemist that you just asked me, chemistry, look at the critical skills. This is it right here. It's on
okay.
it's on the biological important molecules. which is the carbohydrates, lipids, protein, and nucleic acids. So this is it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And sorry, I have one more question.
Yeah.
The chemistry work, that's like just a extra additional study thing. It's not like an assignment we submit anywhere, because I was looking where to submit that.
That is correct. The
Okay.
only assignments you have are the ones that are found on Canvas. I will
Okay.
always give you the worksheets though, because students tell me that those are very helpful. So I would still personally, I would highly recommend you doing those worksheets. Some of them are required as assignments and some are not. So this is an example of where the chemistry worksheet is not, but it's really good to kind of see whether you understand the chemistry lecture or not. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, since chemistry tends to be a harder topic, I actually created a video going through the chemistry worksheet. So go through it yourself, see what you're able to pull from the lecture, and then watch my video on I actually go through the worksheet myself. And then you can kind of compare whether you're missing anything or if you are exactly on the right track. Okay. All right. Other questions? All right. So what are you graded on? That was a great question. You asked that and here it is. So the assignments on Canvas, there's 11 of them. They're 10 points each. The lowest one would be dropped. And these assignments make up 10% of your grade. Okay, so 1% each. Same as your lecture quizzes. You'll have 11 lecture quizzes, 10 points each. The lowest one will be dropped. That gives you a 10% on your total grade. Your exam 1 is 50 questions and it's worth 10% of your grade. Exam 2 is 50 questions, worth 10% of your grade. Exam 3, same thing. Your final exam has 100 questions, but you can think of it as a fourth exam and your comprehensive. Okay, so 50 questions will be on the unit 4 that we just talked about earlier, and then 50 questions will be on your previous exams 1, 2, and 3. And we'll talk more about that when we get closer to the time. Oops. So for lab quizzes are worth 10 points each. There's 11 of them. I dropped the lowest one. So you'll notice that for the assignments, lecture quizzes and lab quizzes, if you have 1 week that it's you just can't do anything, you're okay, because you are allowed to drop one of the lowest things, but save that as much as possible. Okay, don't use it and just say, oh, I'm going to hang out with friends, so I'm going to use that one as a dropout. And then the following week, something actually happens and you need it and you don't have it anymore. Okay, so save that one lowest score drop for as long as you can. You have exam 1, 2, and 3, 30 questions each. They're worth 5% of your grade. And then the final lab exam is worth 10% of your grade. And together it comes up to 100% of your grade. Okay, questions? And for the first time ever in history, because we don't offer extra credit for this course, I am offering 1 extra credit in this course. So I take surveys from students, and one of the comments that the previous students say is that they wish they had a little bit of extra credit. So I'm going to give a little bit of extra credit at the end of this course. So when we get close to the time, I will provide that, but you will have just a small, it's only worth like 1% of your grade. So it can either make up 1 quiz, 1 lecture, or 1 assignment essentially. Okay. But there will be 1 extra credit assignment that I'll offer at the end. Okay. Questions? Okay. Yeah.
I kind of had like I guess a lecture or kind of question. I don't understand what the difference between a ionic and covalent bond is. Like, I don't.
Chemistry question. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for looking ahead at the lecture. That's awesome. I love hearing that you've already started. And that's the best way to approach this class. The earlier you can get to the content, the better you will be in. Because like Ariel, she's like thinking about it, right? She's mulling on that. And that's what you need to do. Okay. So ionic and covalent are different in multiple ways. Okay. So with ionic bonding, what you'll find is that in order to bond with each other, so you have, let's say, sodium and chlorine, okay? For them to stick together through ionic bond, what they're going to do is that they're going to transfer electrons. So let's say sodium is going to give electrons to chlorine, so that then they're at a point where one's positively charged and one's negatively charged, and they link together. So they link together because of opposite charge attraction. And that opposite charge attraction was due to the fact that one gave electrons to another. Okay. And here's the problem though. They're attracted to each other because of the opposite attraction. But let's say something comes by that's a little bit more attractive. They're going to easily break and go to the other one. Okay. So with ionic bonds, they tend to be weaker because they're based on opposite attraction. And they're able to be oppositely charged because one is directly giving electrons to the other. So when you give electrons away, you become positively charged, and whatever takes that electron becomes negatively charged. So then they're like, ooh, you know, you're kind of sexy because you're opposite of me, and they hook up together. But if you see something else come by, you can go whoop over there. So ionic bonds are weak. They are due to opposite charge attraction, and that's because one gave electrons to the other. Covalent bonds are where they're sharing electrons. So let's say that there are two missing electrons to be stable here, and then there are two here missing as well. So they're going to share electrons with each other, and when they're sharing electrons to each other, in order to be stable, they have to stay with each other for a long period of time. So that means that covalent bonds are going to be stronger or weaker. What do you think?
Stronger, because they're both stable.
Exactly. And they're only stable when they're sharing the electrons. Okay. So that's the difference between ionic and covalent. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking like it was, I don't know, because I was like, they both share, like, I don't know. But I see it. One gives away, one shares.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, anytime you have questions like that, feel free to send me an email, ask me, and then we can go through it. Oh, I have some comments in the chat. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Oh, I love that. Oh, by the way, one of the best ways to be successful in this class is forming study groups. No one understands this class better than your peers, okay? So I highly encourage forming study groups. And that's why I did the icebreaker, so that you kind of know where each other are. If you have a cluster of students in like Texas and you're near each other, have study sessions. Or even if you're not next to each other, find some time to meet on Zoom, okay? All right. Okay. Let's see. Next one. All right. So the course layout is like this, okay? You'll see the home page right here. It kind of gives you my introduction. And the two things I want you to know about this, okay? One, you can set the notifications so that if anything changes on Canvas, you will be emailed, or even better, text. You can get text if anything changes on this course. So that's what I highly recommend, is set the notifications so that you never miss anything, okay? And if you email, there's two emails. You can email directly through Canvas, or you can email through the St. Kate's email, okay? Canvas emails get lost sometimes because it's just really slow to notify me. So if there's something urgent, please text me or email me directly through the St. Kate's email. If you contact me through the Canvas email inbox, I don't get that right away. It's really slow. It takes like 24 hours before I ever even see it. Okay. So if something urgent, you need to contact me, text me, or email me through the St. Kate's email. Okay. Oh, but let me show you how the notification works. It's really cool. So let's go home. Where's the notification? I think it's in settings. Student view. Let's see what it looks like. Here, view course notifications. Okay, oh, that's not it. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. There's somewhere in here where you can change the notifications. Maybe it's, let me get out of the student view. The student view, it might be in settings. Let's move this, go into settings. Okay. All right, so this is a new canvas for me. I normally use the other canvas. Poor excuse, but it's an excuse. So let me figure out where the notification is. But you can set up notifications so that you are either emailed or text about the changes. Okay. All right. The due dates are always on here. You'll see in the course layout, the welcome, getting started, to do, and under the to do, you'll see all the due dates. Okay, so make sure you have them in your calendar. It's a lot. This class goes by really fast and there's a lot of things to keep track of. So time management is one of the most key things to being successful in this course. Course layout, syllabus, everything you need can be found in the syllabus. If not, contact me. If there's announcements, I generally put them into the course announcements, and I will also email you if it's something that is additional. Okay, so make sure you check the announcements page. 1 week before the exams, I will give you what's called preparing for exams, kind of a study guide. Now, I know a lot of students find the study guide unuseful because I guess our definitions of study guides are a little different. Okay. So if you're used to that study guide where it tells you exactly what's going to be on the exam, this is not it. Okay, so this study guide is just like its name, it's a study guide. So it's going to help you study everything, which is what is on the test. Okay, because you get a randomized pool of questions. So I don't even know what questions you get. Okay, I know all the questions in there come from every single bit of that lecture video script that we provide to you. So that's why the study guide is very general. And some students are like, the study guide wasn't helpful at all because there are a lot of things that were not on the exam that were on that study guide. Well, I don't know what you will get because your questions are randomized, right? So the study guide is just like that. It's meant to kind of help you prepare for the whole holistic materials that we go through. So like I said, anything on the lecture video and script is fair game. And that's why the study guide reflects that. Okay. And it's not required. So use it if you want. If it's not helpful for you, then don't use it. Okay. All right. Questions on that? On the study guide? Make sure you check at the beginning of each week, go in, look at the weekly modules. It'll tell you exactly what you need to know, what the quizzes are on. So a lot of students say, oh, I didn't know that's on the quiz. I'm like, oh, well, it says it on Canvas, right? Lecture quiz 1 is on Introduction to A&P and Chemistry. Lecture lab quiz 1 is on the major body cavities and terms. So all you need to do is make sure you are very detail oriented when you're looking through the Canvas modules, and then you'll know exactly what's going to be on what's required for you that week. In the modules, it's laid out like this. You'll have the objectives, the lecture component, the lab component, and then the navigational component. Okay, the lecture component will always have an outline. The outlines are really cool. Okay, it will help you to rewrite your notes so that you really, the outlines are really difficult to do initially. Okay, because you have to pull content from the lecture video and the script into the outline. The first outline is fully filled out for you so that you can see what it should look like. But the rest are blank so that you can study as you're filling out the outline. Okay. You will always have the PowerPoint of what's used in the lecture video and the script. Okay. So the script is what the professors narrated. Okay. Then the video link is there. The textbook, again, use it as you will, but your primary sources of information should be these first 2 bullet points right here. Okay. For lab, there's a lab PDF. The lab PDF, make sure you are either downloading them or printing them out. They're very useful. Make sure you go through them. Otherwise, you're going to be very unprepared for the quizzes and exams in lab. Okay. And then the video goes over the things that you need to know in the lab PDF. Then optional, but highly recommended again, is the navigation. Whatever you find on here, what we did is that we surveyed students to see what was the most difficult thing for students, and we made videos on it. Okay. So make sure you kind of go through that, because you'll find that usually whatever is difficult for one student is going to be difficult for many others as well. So that's what the modules would look like. Here's what I would recommend for you on a weekly schedule. Okay, and this will modify based on your personal life schedule, but I recommend starting early. For example, Monday, Tuesday, go through the lecture and lab videos, take notes. Wednesday and Thursday, rewrite your notes using the outlines by pulling the script and images into your outlines. Okay, complete your assignments and post them by Friday, 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. So then on Friday, you're just reviewing your note cards, making flashcards, because here's the thing. Science courses require 3 things. 1, you have to study the material. 2, you have to actually kind of test yourself whether you actually know the material or not, because studying the materials put the information into your brain. You have to practice pulling the information out, and you can only do that by doing like flashcards, doing quizzes, doing the worksheets, doing the cognition maps, because that's seeing whether you're able to pull that information out or not. And the third part is test taking strategies. That's also very important, and we'll have a video on that as well. Okay, so 3 things: studying, putting the information in; 2, quizzing yourself and seeing what you can pull out; and 3, knowing how to take tests on a scientific, course. Then Saturday and Sunday, that's when you can, some students take the quizzes real early, and that's completely fine. But you can also take it on Saturday and Sunday once you've had time to process the information. Okay, questions?
So this Sunday we have our first exam. Is that right?
Quiz. You have your first quiz this Sunday. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So thank you, Ariel. Ariel found the notifications. She said on the count on left side of the screen, notifications on the top left for notifications. Okay. And then Juliet said, do y'all want to do a group chat? That's excellent. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's it for my walkthrough. Does anyone have any other questions you have for me?
Honestly, I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm a little nervous. So I don't know. I don't know how to process. What, just study, I guess.
Yeah, you'll find that it's not so much as study hard, but study smart, right? So you want to study efficiently because there's a lot of stuff. So you got to study efficiently. So I've had students where they say, oh my God, I read the textbook. I read everything for 50 hours and I still don't understand. That's not how our brain works. When you read something, it goes in, but then it goes away within 48 hours, and you don't really help it organize in your brain. So here's the analogy that I give students. If I give you 1,000 pieces of paper, no way you can get that right. But if you start to file those papers by, for example, student's first name, student's last name, and so on, then you put into folders, and then you put those folders into another folder, and then to another folder. So you compartmentalize things, and that's how your brain works as well. And that's what it means to study smart. instead of studying hard. Studying hard will keep those thousands of pages and kind of keep trying to go through all of them multiple times. But studying smart is about compartmentalizing it so that it's easy to pull out when you need it. Okay, so doing active learning things like the worksheets, the cognitive maps, the flashcards, those are ways in which you compartmentalize and then practice pulling it out. Okay, so don't spend your like 50 hours reading everything over and over again. It's not going to work. That's just not how our brain works. Okay, but if you compartmentalize things, then it is easier to recall. So you have to study, you have to practice recalling, and then you have to practice test taking. It is a lot, you know, and that's why we have this you know, first session to kind of help ease any anxiety that this class may bring, because you should really have fun in this class. Okay.
Have you ever heard of the Amoeba Sisters on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
They're a really, really great resource. It's Amoeba, Amoeba, and they actually have, sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just gonna go here. Okay, how do you spell that again?
Amoeba Sisters, and they have a YouTube channel, and I can maybe send a link, or if you just type it in, you'll find it. And they have an entire channel on like body systems, and they do a lot of biology, like every aspect of it, but they have one for specifically anatomy, body systems and stuff like that. And they're like shorter videos. I want to say the longest is usually like 10 minutes. But they're like animated. And so they make the content, like if there's a specific thing that you're struggling with, like I like to go there, find that. And then it just shows it in a different way. It like breaks it down in a different way. And so I was studying genetics a little while ago, and they had some amazing videos on it, and it was just super, super helpful. And I just thought that maybe I'd share that.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Rachel. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you have any resources that you know that might be useful, that's useful for you, most likely it's going to be useful for your classmates, share them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it just shows it in a different way.
Exactly. And that's really important, you know, and I completely understand that. Sometimes when I'm taking a class, I'll understand it better from one resource than the other, and then the next chapter I'll understand it from another resource more than the other. It's just about how it clicks with you. Okay, so keep trying until it clicks. I will share this PowerPoint with everyone as well as this recording. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay. Hopefully this helps a little bit, you know, to prepare you to enter into the course. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. My cell phone number, my email, all in the syllabus. Okay. Any other questions?
Maybe just for the classmates, is anybody actually taking down all these numbers to start the group chat? Because I'm not.
I'm doing
it.
it.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Perfect.
So I'll leave this on for a bit so that you can take down all those numbers, or if you want to add your number. Yeah. Otherwise, that's it. I wish you a very best beginning of the term. Hopefully you'll find enjoyment in this class, as well as, you know, you have to study, you do have to be tested, but I find this class is my favorite because it's very applicable to my job as well as to my personal life. Okay.
Thank you. I actually did think of one other question.
Yeah.
Will there be any other required live Zoom meetings through you?
No.
Okay.
Yep. Because this is meant to be an asynchronous class. I just like to meet with all of you because it just makes this class more personal. So usually a week before the exams, I have review sessions where it is through Zoom, but it's always going to be recorded. So if you can't make those times, you can always watch them. I just like to talk to all of you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So that is it. We made it exactly within the hour. I will stay on if you have any other questions, but I'm going to stop recording though.